What's up, good people? We back and we're new. Welcome to another episode of Sounds From The Cellar, hosted by the Olive Tree Madmen. Today's episode is a special one. We're going to celebrate our good friend, Mr. Roy Hargrove. We shot this at the Jazz Gallery, and we did our interview portion at our home base, the Olive Tree Cafe. I'm not going to tell you too much about it. I want you to check it out.
Aida Hargrove, welcome to Sounds From The Cellar. How you doing?
Glad to be here.
We are stoked to be talking to you today. Myself and Butter representing the Madmen today. What a day we had last week, to explain to everybody.
Yeah.
This is a special edition of Sounds From The Cellar. celebrating the life and legacy and the music in all the different configurations of Roy Hargrove. We had a special day recording at the Jazz Gallery last week. We couldn't quite fit it in the booths last week when we had 17 people on stage doing the big band.
Right.
But yeah, what a special day. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, we have you here now.
Yes.
Let's start from the beginning, and then let's break down a timeline from the beginning of Roy's life to kind of, I guess, maybe when y'all got together and what you know and how he started to become and formulate into the icon he became.
Oh, so it's an easy question.
Yeah.
Well,
I can start you off.
Okay.
We know he's born and raised Dallas, Texas.
That's right.
All right.
But technically born, started off in Mart, Texas, which is outside of Dallas. It's like it's a little bit of a drive. Technically born in Waco, but that was just a hospital.
Okay.
So when you look online, it says Waco, Texas, because technically that's true, but he really lived in Mart.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then moved to Dallas, I think when he was 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then lived in Dallas, went to the performing arts. Well, actually, you know what? Let's
say Dallas. He always used to yell out the Flats. Oak Bluff.
Oak Cliff.
Oak Cliffs.
Oh my God, you are so New York.
I'm sorry. I know he used to say Oak Cliffs. Oak Cliff. He used to say that.
Oak Cliff. Yeah, that's the neighborhood.
That was a neighborhood.
That's the neighborhood. Yeah.
So that was a neighborhood in Texas.
In Dallas.
In Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah. So before Mart, Texas, that might be worth mentioning. And man, don't nobody sue me for this because I get details wrong all the time. But he was staying a lot with his grandma, Big Mama, in who is, by the way, featured in a 1997 documentary that some Dutch people did back in 1997. So it's on YouTube. You can check it out. And Big Mama is on it. And she used to, according to his mom, sit him down at the piano, like at the ripe old age of 2 or 3 or something, and sang church hymns with him. So that's how he got in, I think.
His first introduction
to
music, period.
Right.
Okay.
And then so in elementary school, I'm gonna say 8 or 9 years old. At 8, he moved to Dallas proper, like to Dallas. And then at 8, 9 years old, he got introduced to the trumpet. Mr. Hill is his music teacher.
Okay, I heard of him.
Yeah, and he is, he's down there. He's like a Coach Carter or something, like one of those that they make movies about. But cut that out. No, but seriously, that dude is like decades of what he did for Roy, he did for so many other young kids, right? And he really took a special interest in Roy and like helped him out with like getting a trumpet. When they had concerts and stuff and Roy didn't have a shirt, he got him one with a tie and just made sure he was always cool.
Wow.
And he introduced him to the blues first of all. And I think in within that context, he first heard like soloing and then jazz, like Clifford Brown and people like that.
How old is he at this stage?
They're 8, 9, something like that. Something like that. And so and he eventually, so they did a bunch of concerts and competitions even. So at some point, I think that might have been later, he actually starts meeting people like McBride and Frank Lacey and stuff at these different school events and stuff. So they start hearing about each other. But that's when they're teenagers. And I think, so at some point he graduates to high school, and it's the Performing Arts High School in Dallas. It's called Booker T. Washington. It's an arts magnet school. But by that time, he's pretty much already like he's something different. Mm-hmm. And he kind of took it that way. Like when he was like, he had a little bit of a rough go around in his home life at times. So he would like, I think it just came in at the right time too, with the music and Mr. Hill, and gave him something to focus on, and he did. And he would tell me like he's in school, and he was like, oh, he wants to play the solo and stuff, and they were like, you need to practice on it. And he would, whatever they told him to practice on, he would go home and actually sit in the literal closet and just practice and practice and practice and practice. And so that's the foundation that it's a strong foundation. And so by the time he gets to high school, he's already pretty far ahead. Mm-hmm. I found a middle school recording If you like, we could even plug it in here. I think it's an LP from the middle school with Mr. Hill. It's the Boss Band. It's called the Oliver Wendell Holmes Middle School Boss Band.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Hill. On the cover in a friggin' DeLorean or something. It's pretty dope. Anyways, they are and they're performing, and you can already tell. Like Roy comes in with a solo. This is like 12 years old or something.
Wow.
Yeah, killing it. Like if you want to play it later, we can. Like it's
Wow.
So that's high school.
Yeah.
In high school, that's the performing arts high school. So of note is that he went to school with Erykah Badu. She was in the same.
Yeah, they were in the same class.
Yeah, or had classes together.
Right.
And also Aaron Comis from the Spin
Doctors. Yeah, I know Aaron. You know Aaron.
Yeah.
He was in the same.
Right.
Same.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were actually going to do something together because he lives like somewhere here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Just didn't materialize. Yeah.
They were in the same.
Wait, did we skip the part where like the first time he got a trumpet, and how did, like, to his lips, and how did that happen? I know that, like, so the grandmother musically introduced him to gospel and stuff, but like why trumpet, and how old, and you know?
I think it was like 8 or something. Or we're still with that, but I think the story went that he wanted something, like he was trying to go for clarinet or something else, but his dad had a cornet at home, so that kind of that's how that went.
Okay.
You know,
because
his dad played music. Like his dad and his mom both played music in high school in the band. Like his mom played alto, I think.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to her like, man, pull it out, you know, let's see. But no, and his dad played the cornet. So, and I think so it kind of was happenstance, you know, however we want to look at it. But because I think he wanted to go with something else.
Right.
But that's what was there.
But it wasn't like there was like this, you know, really established line of like, we're all horn players, you're going to be a horn player kind of thing. Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Just happened.
This just happened. And it, you know, because you know how it's like in school, like if you have band, you know, have a band and then the kids come and then, okay, you get to play this. A lot of it is randomly assigned, you know.
Sometimes people go for instruments that are already taken up.
Right.
Yeah.
So... But
the drum section always fills up.
And then I think Mr. Hill helped him get a trumpet from a store. Like he vouched for him to the store owner. He was like, I mean, you know, again, don't quote me on it. But I think that's what it was, that Mr. Hill helped him get a trumpet there. So he was like, this kid is real talented. You know, he's cool. Let's get him that trumpet.
So you were saying that, like, you know, when things weren't great at home, kind of thing, the music was kind of, was it like a bomb for him, or?
Yeah, I think so. It was like the thing that got him out of there, or made it possible to deal with stuff and something to focus on. You know, sometimes it was lacking in supervision. Like, you know, it's not like today where the kids are like constantly supervised at all times. So I think even trying to deal with life happening and dealing with sort of some kind of grown-up problems, but not knowing how, and then not having anything to really steer or guide him. Like, you know, back then they didn't have no therapy or nothing. So this was something that focused him and kept him on the right track. And I mean, he did say like that if it hadn't been for music, you know, well ended on, you know, in a different way, because you know, Oak Cliff now is actually, I was there a couple of years ago. It's, you know, it's got like a little hipster section and stuff, but back then it wasn't so hip, and it was, I think it would have been easy to get on the wrong track, or like a wrong, you know.
From what I understand about Oak Cliff.
Yeah, you know, fill your time with other things and, you know, Anyway, so music was there to
So he goes from high school. And from high school, he then attends Berkeley.
Right. There's the famous story that Wynton Marsalis went down to play at Caravan of Dreams, I think, one of the clubs down there. And he also did a clinic or something at the school. And when he heard Roy, he was like, oh, hold up. You know, this is something. And then invited him to come to the gig. So that was sort of where he was discovered. I think people in Dallas would argue that, listen, we knew this before.
We knew
but,
Roy was
you know,
already,
but that's when he got discovered. That's kind of when he got
national spotlight.
Right, and that's when he, when his manager, or his former manager, saw him and then kind of took him under his wing. And so by the time he got to Berkeley, that was already in place. Like he had already been on tour, like via the manager, like they had been to, I think, Mount Fuji Jazz Festival. So he had already started working with his mom, though. She went to the Mount Fuji. She would go with him.
So he had a chaperone.
That was still, because
had he had recorded the first album yet?
No, I don't think so. Well, let me get him mixed up. No.
Okay.
But he played with a group named Super Blue. This is Don Sickler, who I think you're familiar with. He's a music publisher, well known. And he had a group named Super Blue. I think Margaret Miller was in it, and Frank Casey, I want to say. Look it up.
Okay.
We'll fill that in later, but the details. No, but it was, and so Roy was part of that, and then also Bobby Watson.
Yeah. Alto.
Yeah, alto player and composer, and so both Super Blue and Bobby Watson took him out on respective gigs during that time. So before he even became his own thing. So, and then he went to Berkeley. That's when you guys met, right? Didn't stay there too long. Jammed at Bradley's, right?
Yeah.
And hung out
here in New York.
And
first jammed at Wally's.
Oh, that's right.
Wally's in Boston,
Wally's.
which has been there now. I think they're pushing on their 80th year.
And they still there.
They're still there.
Unlike Bradley's. Okay,
Unlike
cool.
Bradley's, yes.
Okay.
And that's where me and Roy officially hit it off and started playing together.
Okay.
At that club, Wally's Cafe. And then I know, so from the story from then, that's when I see him in the picture, and that's when he goes off to go on and do all the things he's known for.
Right.
From
Boston. He would come, like during Berkeley days, he would come down here and play a lot. And so after a while, it was like, okay, he's not in Boston anymore. He's always down here or touring already. And so then he moved before graduating. Went to New School here. Didn't graduate there either, though.
Oh, he enrolled in New School for a little while.
He enrolled in New School. I'm guessing the plan was, okay, so now he's in New York, at least let him finish the degree, but that never happened. So, because it just got too busy. Like that train was taken off, and that was just it.
Like a bullet. First album called
Diamond in the Rough.
Diamond in the Rough. That's
Diamond
right.
in the Rough.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the album that set him off to become Roy Hargrove to the public. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is ever so fragile, barely hanging on the wings of time by a thread, long and yet invisible. Sometimes we forget and then we regret. Love is even more fragile. The minute you take it for granted, it vanishes and tarnishes. That's why I don't want to miss anything about you. Sometimes we forget and then we regret. Your sugar, your feel, your touch, your hair, your voice, you whisper, you moan, your prayer, your hands, your step, your spin, your care, your shadow, your heat, your light, your stare. I don't want to be free if it means that I'll be without you, babe. Without you, babe. I just want you to see how much you mean to me. I really love you. I really love you. Your sugar, your feel, your touch, your hair, your voice, your whisper, your moan, your prayer, your hands, your step, your spin, your care, your shadow, your heat, You like your stare. I don't want to be free if it means that I'll be without you, babe. Without you, baby, I just want you to see how much you mean to me. I really love you. I really your sugar, your fear, your touch, your hair, your voice, your whisper, your moan, your prayer, your hands, your step, your spin, your care, your shadow, your heat, your light, your stare, your sugar, your fear, your touch, your hair, your voice, your whisper, your moan, your prayer, your hands, your step, your spin, your care, your voice, your whisper, your moan, your prayer, your hands, your step, your hands, your step, your hands, your step, your moan, your prayer.
So he
Yeah.
does all this. Boom, first record. Now we can fast forward. Y'all meet
Okay, that's 2006.
2006.
So at a Slide Hampton concert, we meet there, and afterwards we all went out to eat. That's how we met. And
2006 to 2018.
18. Yeah, that's it. We pretty much got together right away. Like that was in the summer or something, and then I moved in 2009, 2010 ish, and then yeah, we lived together since, and then all the way to 2018. We got married only in 2017, like in the spring of 2017.
Oh, okay, you made it official in
Yeah.
17.
Right.
Okay, damn. I don't even know why I thought you were married even earlier than that. But you had been together so long.
We've been
Yeah.
together, and
like, how did it happen? Where were you guys at when you met each other? Like in your relationship life, you know what I mean?
oh yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for it at all. Like I
Right.
was not. I was actually had just like was on my own thing about like getting serious about studying, like with my personal studying music. I'm self-taught, so I was at least the self-discipline. I was like, yeah, now I'm gonna go. This is it. I'm going to go real hard or whatever. And then I meet Roy, and then I was like, I'm supposed to, like being in love is like the worst distraction ever.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but you know, I was like, I'm going to pursue this and keep my focus. So when we met at Slides, we would talk. We all split. We split a cab back because he lived on my way, and he gave me his number and was and didn't hear from him, which wasn't unusual for him at the time. And then a few weeks later, a friend of mine is like, "Oh, I'm at the Blue Note. Roy Hargrove's here. You should come. He wants to talk to you. Wants to see you." I was like, I gave him my number. He could have called me the last 3 weeks. Like, what? No, I'm doing something else. And then, so I got to credit my friend who kept bugging me on the phone. It was like, no, you got to come down. He really wants to see you. Blah, blah, blah. So then I went, and that's when we actually got together. So
That's nice.
Look at that. And happily ever after.
Happily ever after.
Hey y'all, it's Ezra Schwartzbart reporting to you live with Sounds From The Cellar. We're in the Jazz Gallery and I'm here talking with
Dante Winslow.
And I'm gonna ask him a couple questions. Can you describe Roy's creative process and how did he approach composing, arranging, or improvising during your time together?
Whew. That would take hours, but I can give you a couple of gems. One thing that people don't know is Roy is one of the first innovators of multi-tracking horns, because in the 70s, people would have horn sections on records, and Roy studied that style: punk, punk, funk, hip hop, Earth, Wind and Fire, all of the sample stuff. But it was always a section, and they always recorded from top to bottom a whole song at the same time. Yeah. Well, when multi-track recording happened, people did that with vocals, but not so much with horns until Roy around the 90s. I used to come to his apartment. He had this 4-track tape. Tascam. It was great. He would play one, record, he would do another track, record, do another track, record, and that's how he came with the stack sound that you hear on like D'Angelo's Voodoo. Yeah. You would hear that sound, and I used to have tapes of Roy, cassette tapes in high school, like 89 and 90, and I used to be like, man, this is killing. It was like a beat, a drum machine, and him stacking horn, flip-flop, 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 and I was like, oh, this is killing. This is 90. So I'm like, man, 10, 20 years from now, people are going to love to hear this, but I only had it on tape.
And it still blows my mind how that whole happened because I was around.
Yeah, you talk about that and now. So I know we have an eyewitness right here.
I was around when they asked for a horn player, and they had heard of Roy, and I said I can get them Roy, and that's when, and I had already been around D'Angelo a lot, and D'Angelo is very much like Roy. Very quiet, very just about music and music and music and music and that's it. Very focused on the music. They don't care nothing about interviews and nothing else pertaining to the business, contracts, nothing, just the music. And when they finally got into the room together, they hit it off. And that's when the shift happens, when How the Horns is cut
right
on
and specifically that let's get into that.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Am I right in saying that like he would come in a bit kind of raw, right? Somewhat raw, and then listen to the track, play down to as he's reacting to the track. And then this is the Rain Man moment.
Now this is what I've
because
I've been in the studio a lot and
witnessed this.
I've witnessed several times.
Yeah,
and this is where I've come to realize that Roy had total recall.
Right.
Total recall, where whatever he played down for that 4 to 5 minute track, he
Spanish
remembered where he did it, mostly, and what he played,
right.
and
then
layer from there.
Yeah.
Multiple harmony parts.
And it could be like this. Like I have a track we did at home where it's like, bap.
Sure. Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Ba-dap, right?
Yeah.
And
That's so
second
cool.
time.
In fact, that part's nearly more mind blowing than the
yeah, like if there was like constant stuff going on, you'd easily remember that. No. It's like here and then like nothing and then here.
Bars and bars and bars.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's really more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that shift happens. That album becomes a classic,
Yeah, it's a cornerstone.
a cornerstone.
For so many, for people who, let's say, are right in the sight line of that kind of music, which I don't even think it's one kind of music, but it was so cross genre, so popular, and so like cornerstone. Like, oh, this is
something different. Something different.
Sgt. Pepper's or whatever.
Yeah. Like these horns are not how the horns have been cut in the past. And it changed the game. Everybody was on top of it. And so, like I said, I was using that as a barometer. Then it opens the door for him for what he really wanted to do, which for a long time, a quote unquote funkier type project.
Right.
Which after the D'Angelo album, it opens the door for him to do the RH Factor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then the RH Factor comes about.
Right.
And then the RH factor comes about. Now, you want to talk about that?
No, you should talk about that because you was there. I mean, but no, but he did. Let me say this though. He did want to, like, he's always said that mainly he's like, his main thing was always straight ahead.
Yeah.
But he grew up listening to his dad's records. Like his dad was the guy, that's how he said it, in the neighborhood who always knew what the next hot shit was and would have the records. And people would come to him and like check out what he got. And so he grew up with all this stuff in the 70s. Funk, you know. And,
Parliament, George Clinton, Sly and the Family Stone.
And, you know, but also like the OJs and stuff, like all that.
OJ, all of it.
So he grew up with all of that. And then the advent of the birth of hip hop, right? The first rappers and all that. So he had all that. So he needed an outlet for that, you know, and the
music of his era.
Right. That's when RH Factor came to be. And I handed over to Butter.
Yeah. Well, that RH Factor comes to be when, you know, well, before that, when we were in Berkeley, we were always messing around in the studio. It was like, that I was a place where his outlet to do some of that stuff, because everywhere else he was at, he was always straight ahead, and everybody he was with straight ahead. When came with me, we hip hop. I'm looping beats, we doing that, and he's rhyming. Right. I have stuff with him rapping.
Yeah. Oh yeah?
I have stuff with him.
What
rapping.
kind of a tone did he have?
A laid back tone. He was.
That's cool.
You had to put him in the character. He'd be over there in the tribe world.
Yeah. I imagine.
Yeah. So we do that, and I think that's why when it came time for the art, because he pushed for the RH Factor for a long time, and they denied him a while.
Yeah.
Like they want him to stay where he's at, and if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right. And they didn't get, like, I don't think they got what it was until it was there. Like once
and then
it was there, then
it was like, oh my God, it was another shift.
Right.
So we go, and I think because of our early times together doing that, when he gets that opportunity, I'll never forget. He called me, said, "Yo, we can do it." And I didn't know what he was talking about when he called me. I said, "Do what?" He said, "Yo, I got that. We can do the record. We can make the funk stuff. We can do it." I said, "Oh." He said, "So we go in the studio. Whatever day it was like a couple of days later." He said, "Come pick me up, and we going to Electric Lady." And I already knew about Electric Lady because that's where he had did so, and I think that's why he chose it, because that's where he did the D'Angelo stuff. And all the history that D was all about.
Right. And there was a lot.
Jimi Hendrix thing, and they all pulling from them energies, and they was always talking about that. So we go to, like, I pick him up, and I'll never forget, he comes out the apartment, and he has a stack of sheet music, 15 charts. And I remember the number. I said, "What's that?" He said, "This is what the music we're going to play." I said, "Oh, you got charts for this stuff?" I said, "Okay, cool. So we should do that. But, you know, this is the funk stuff. You know, you got all these people," because he started telling me all the people that's coming. Mm-hmm. So you need to try and do some stuff with them, whatever they collaborate with them. We go to the studio. Fast forward, we stayed there 13 days. I think me and him slept there a couple of nights. 30-something joints we do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because he's open, he lets people come, collaborate, boom, boom. We were in the studio, 2 drums at the same time, 2 basses at the same time, 2 with electric and acoustic. So they just, in the edit, it's just a matter of bringing who in and out, whatever feels best in that little part right there. And they just kept coming in every day. Somebody new was coming in, somebody else was coming in. Cornell Dupree, Bernard.
The personnel list.
The personnel list on our Factor was insane.
Mm-hmm.
They just, every day, I just couldn't keep up. It was always crowded. Dante's coming in. That's when Dante, the guy, the red joke.
Yeah.
He's his little man from Baltimore that he met. He's just there hanging.
Yeah.
But he's, at that time, he must be 17, something like that. So it was just a matter of everybody getting together, fellowship, jamming, playing. Yo, I got another idea. Come on, let's try this. 30-something later, this is the RH Factor.
Yeah.
And that's how that whole session took place. 13 days of jamming and playing, doing those charts, but then another 15, 16 more of just
So
Come
tell somebody, completely lay and not in the jazz world at all, with, most of the names that you guys mentioned will be. So what kind of an impact does the RH Factor have in to those that care about it? Like, how did it do?
I'm gonna give her a chance to say, but to me, it's this next generation of hardcore musicians that look at those records and Roy's records and the RH Factor as guides to where to go.
Okay.
Where to be.
Right.
Just like
what would
the
you
generation
compare it
before
to?
those, we're looking at Herbie and the Headhunters and all these different groups. That next generation is looking at that. It's like, ooh, we go here.
Yeah.
Now, as far as Roy's approach to like genre blending, with R&B, hip hop, funk, how did he navigate these genre shifts, and what was it like being part of that fusion?
Well, Roy is, you must understand that even in myself, born in 1958, I'm a child of the 1970s, funk groups, Parliament Funkadelic, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Barcades, the Ohio Players, I just think that, the scene that Roy actually got me into, the neo-soul jazz scene, neo-soul funk scene.
It was natural.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of like, it can go back, it's kind of like a more hipper rehashment of the 70s too. So I think, even though Roy, and I guess I could say this in all, Friday, I think that Roy will be remembered, strangely enough, even though he did a lot of jazz, I think he would be remembered more for what he did with the RH Factor and another hit he did, Strasbourg Saint Denis.
Yeah, I play that song all the time.
Yeah,
cool.
Everybody likes it.
Yeah.
To me, it's got like a funky Sesame Street Elmo vibe, but it's cool to me. You know what I'm saying?
Funky Sesame Street Elmo vibe, man. That's funny, man.
Elmo likes to get that.
Yeah. All right. Last question, probably. What do you think Roy Hargrove's lasting legacy will be in the world of jazz and kind of music in general?
In the world of jazz, I would say that he's going to be remembered as one of the greatest jazz trumpeters of our time. And there's a lot of other great trumpeters that's still alive right now whose name I won't mention, but I think that they'll never be able to match the passion, the stick-to-itiveness, the harmony, the rhythm, and just the whole feeling that Roy had on the trumpet.
What is the most profound or memorable piece of advice you would think he gave to the next generation coming up? That still resonates with you today? Because I know he was very much about the kids learning, because he was one of the few of his caliber that would be a mainstay at the jam session.
That's right.
All the big, once they got to a certain level, they didn't go to the jam, but he was there.
Yeah, and he was annoyed by that he would sometimes come into a club and the music is sad because it's, no offense, but it's a bunch of kids playing and they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And he's looking and there's somebody sitting at the bar who's of his, like one of his peers sitting at the bar drinking. And he's like, man, why aren't you, what are you sitting over there for? Go fix this, because that's what Roy would do.
Yeah.
He'd come into his jam session anywhere on the planet, really.
Mm-hmm.
People could tell you all the time, but especially here, music is sad, maybe not, but he'll come in and make it better. Instantly by playing, but also he might just pull the piano player aside, show him you know what I'm saying? Really
leader. He was a leader.
Came right
make
in.
it better, to make it better. So one of the, okay, I'm gonna get serious in a second, but one of the is push it in or pull it out, but don't leave it where it is. He would say that like if somebody was like consistently flat or sharp,
Yeah.
be like, yo, push it in or pull it out, but don't leave it where it is. But no,
That's great.
That's
Honestly, that sounds like the best piece of advice. Because where can you go wrong with that?
No, it sounds,
no, or like shit. There's a bunch of
it's
those.
pliable.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
when in doubt, lay out. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah,
there's tons of
yeah,
those.
yeah.
But he did like really say like you have to be about it. Like you really have to be about it. Like you
Yeah.
can't. And this in response to a question of, but you know, musicians they have to, they're not all in your position. They have to pay their bills and they have to worry about this and worry about that. And it's like that has nothing to do with it. Like being fully dedicated to this music and to this craft and to you as a musician, it's just that's it. You got to do it
Yeah.
full on. No matter if you're getting paid or not or what. All this other stuff can happen and you can deal with it, whatever. But this you got to do.
Yeah.
And you know, so yeah. So that was the advice. You got to really be about it.
Well, beautiful. Thanks a million, Aida. A total pleasure. Thank you for keeping the man's music alive and the legacy, you know, like keeping the heartbeat and the footsteps in the legacy in the community. It's been a pleasure for me and an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And let's check out some of this music that we did.
Yeah, that was dope. Like
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. That was
All right. Thanks, Aida.
thank you.
Thank you.
leaves of brown came tumbling down. Remember that September in the rain. The sun went out just like a dying ember. That September in the rain. Through every word of love I heard you whisper. The raindrops seem to play a sweet refrain. Though spring is here, to me it's still September. That's September in the rain. Shoo-be-doo-be-dee, spring-a-doo-dee-dee, shoo-be-dee-dee, spring-doo-dee, shoo-doo-doo-doo-dee, spring-boo-dee, shala-doo-da-dee-dee. Do